All right. Hey, everyone. Thanks for checking out this week's episode of Circus of Time Review Movie News Podcast, where this week we're going to be breaking down, just like we always do, the most bodacious topics of the week, I guess if you could say, if they're worthy, as we will find out as we go along. But of course, as always, before I start, I want to introduce the guest that I have on today. He's a newcomer to the show, but we've been around each other for a long time. We go way back to our town of Emporia, Kansas. But you can find him on as many social media platforms like Vine, Snapchat, Instagram, YouTube, talking movies, news, and basically just putting out anything he feels the world needs to see. So we got AJ from NAJ TV. Welcome, AJ.
What's happening?
So yeah, like I said, we go way back. We're going to test each other's knowledge today in regards to some of this week's movie news. So we're just going to jump right into it. The first thing that came out this week I want to talk about is the Passengers trailer that came out. First one, the movie comes out, I think, in December 21st.
Yeah, right around Christmas.
Days before or after, I can't believe Rogue One, but we're just now getting the trailer because the rendering and the computer graphics and things like that, there's a big holdup on that, legal issue. So finally got all that done, got the trailer out. We got Chris Pratt and Jennifer Lawrence. We're basically, two people, a lot of people traveling on the spaceship 90 years into space. Well, they both wake up early and they got to deal with basically a lot of people feel like on Earth pretty damn lonely. But the trailer was more like a rom-com / action thriller, so it had a mixture of things. What were your first thoughts when you saw the trailer?
Of course, when you have two huge stars like that, like you're intrigued immediately. Sci-fi kind of gets me going a little bit, so that kind of caught my eye. I also get the feeling that there's not going to be a lot of middle of the road with this movie. It's either going to be really, really awesome and I'm going to want to see it more than once, or it's going to be awful.
Yeah, I think from what I saw in the trailers, it's like it was a big mixture. It's kind of like a movie by committee. Like a lot of people was like Interstellar was great. This part in Aliens was great. This part in Prometheus was great, and like kind of put it all into one movie with two big stars.
Yeah, for sure. It does seem to have, like, the general premise seems to be kind of original, I guess. It's something that you haven't seen a lot of, which is kind of refreshing to see.
I guess, and I like the way the ship looked, and like I guess like I know we've had this whole like people traveling in space, either they're in their sleep or they're in for the long haul one way or another. But of course, they still kept it some mystery as to why do their pods open, or his pod open first, and then who opened hers. I just I'm intrigued. Like you said, if the story's got some originality to it, it's just like I guess scenes and aspects of the trailer you can see they're playing homage or using certain scenes from movies to like really get people intrigued into the whole sci-fi traveling in space sort of thing, I guess.
Yeah, it certainly seems like they're going to play on the romantic part of it as well. You got a few seconds of that in the trailer, but I also have a feeling there's maybe a couple twists in here that that they don't really tell you about in the trailer, but it just kind of seems like a storyline that plays itself well for some twists.
Well, toward the end, we get to see that more and more people start waking up. So we see like Andy Garcia and his awesome Latin old man beard coming out, and then you got Morpheus chilling out there as well. I was waiting for Keanu Reeves to come out at that point.
Yeah.
So yeah, you see that toward the end of the trailer that for one is turning into, it went from the rom-com to more action. There's a twist somewhere. Something's going on with the ship. From what it looks like, almost like the ship is going straight toward the sun, like they were just on a suicide mission this whole time.
Kind of gives you a weird space apocalyptic kind of vibe.
Like I've heard some comparisons to this movie called Sunshine, where it's basically the same concept. People traveling in space, thinking they're going to one place, and they end up being on this giant suicide mission that they had no idea. Kind of like The Island or whatever, that real terrible movie Michael Bay with Ewan McGregor and Scarlett Johansson.
Oh yeah.
So it could be something like that, or it could be a nice little masterpiece. I don't know.
Who's directing it? I haven't even looked. Do you know?
That's a good question. I don't know. I know. All I know is a fourth of the budget is paying the two actors on the screen.
I figured that's probably
$20 million for Jennifer Lawrence and $10 million for Chris Pratt, which is, I mean, she deserves the $20 million. I figured he'd get paid a little bit more, maybe like in the $15 million
like a bargain
range.
for Chris Pratt.
What's that?
Seems like a bargain for Chris Pratt.
That's true. It is. I mean, he did make Jurassic World $1 billion, and Guardians of the Galaxy was a movie no one thought would care about, but ended up being probably one of Marvel's best movies, or at least one of my favorite ones. So I thought he had a little more clout, but I don't know. Maybe they knew Magnificent Seven wasn't going to be as awesome as everyone thought, or maybe the box office. I've heard it's okay. I just haven't heard the box office has been great. Have you seen Magnificent Seven?
I haven't seen it. I'm probably going to see it Monday night, I think, is when.
Yeah, I've heard pretty good things. I heard that people were like, it's not going to be like a Django Unchained, so don't think it's going to have like this awesome dialogue and like, the real like fancy setups and stuff. It's just a kind of a straightforward old school Western with Denzel Washington and a bunch of actors that we know him from the 80s and 90s and new ones, and now it's like, okay, let's see what it's all about. So other than this trailer, the last thing was kind of talking about the release date is going to be right up with Rogue One within a few days. So you think they're going to just hope to cash in on that first weekend, and then they just know that they're going to lose the next 4 to 6 weeks to Rogue One?
I don't think, as far as being a huge hit, I don't think this movie's got a prayer.
Yeah, I agree.
You just can't compete with Star Wars, man. I mean,
No.
even Rogue One, that's not a saga movie per se. It's Star Wars. Like, Darth Vader's in this movie, and that's going to put butts in the seats regardless.
Yeah, and even the fact that this is star power on itself. This is the epitome of star power in one movie. It's like they got Jennifer Lawrence, Chris Pratt. They even have older stars like Andy Garcia and I can't think of his name, Morpheus, Lawrence Fishburne. And so, yeah, I agree. I think it's going to have a pretty decent push from the beginning. Everyone's going to be intrigued. There's going to be like, what's this movie going to be like, especially with my 2 favorite actors, or Reddit's 2 favorite actors of all time, I guess, at this point. And see how it does the first week or two, because I would say after that, I think within the first week, or two, that Rogue One will be coming out. So they're just going to hope that they're going to get to trickle in the people who maybe have seen Rogue One a few times, like, let's go see something different, another space opera, I guess, of some sort, if you want to call it that. So, well, we'll see. We got a short few months. I think they were supposed to release the movie. I think it was supposed to be released earlier, but like I said, the whole computer FX legal thing really held them up, and the marketing too. They legally couldn't market the movie until they settled the case, which I imagine just a few weeks ago. So they whipped together this huge, whipped together the trailer that we got, which pretty much gave away almost the whole movie, except for whatever twist we're going to find out. So we'll see. But moving on to the next thing that we're going to talk about, we had some set photos from Jumanji. We're getting so many reboots and remakes. It's just, they're never going to stop. I don't know what Miss Doubtfire might be next. Anything Robin Williams is he's been associated with is pretty much on the table. But this is the first like real set photo. As you can see, we had Jack Black, Kevin Hart, and The Rock, and Karen Gillian. I think she was in Doctor Who, but she's also played in Guardians of the Galaxy as well. But the reaction really mainly focused on her. People were like, all the men are dressed appropriately, but she's not. Why can't she have the proper attire? Yeah. So what do you think? First of all, what do you think of the whole Jumanji reboot remake with Kevin Hart, Jack Black, and The Rock? And what do you think of the set photo? Do you think people are overreacting, or you think maybe she could be covered up from some mosquitoes a little bit more?
This is what the set photo looks like to me. It looks like Kevin Hart is in a Boy Scout movie of some sort. It looks like The Rock is in another G.I. Joe movie. Karen Gillian, I don't know what's going on with her. And Jack Black looks like his character from King Kong.
Yeah, pretty much. I think it's more of a I don't know if I think it's a continuance. They're not reboot. I guess it's not like they're taking the story and like completely like getting rid of the first one. This is a continuation of the first movie. And so it looks like they're already in the jungle. So I wonder if like the movie's going to already take place and maybe they go back to civilization. I don't know. But like I said, I agree with you. The Kevin Hart thing is kind of like, all right, we're really the comic relief part. I mean, Jack Black can already provide that. The Rock is actually pretty good at comedy at this point in time. His comedic time is pretty good. Yeah. So do we need 3 people for comedic relief? And especially since Kevin Hart, I imagine him and Jack Black are like fighting behind scenes because of like how much comedic things they can put in together. So I don't know. I feel like it might be a little too much, like you said, over the top with some comedic effects. Maybe we need to focus on a little bit something else.
Yeah, I just don't know what to think about this movie in general. I personally don't care for Kevin Hart movies. I don't find them funny, and I think they're pretty repetitive. Like I think Kevin Hart plays the exact same part in every movie, and I just don't. I like his stand-up comedy. I think he's very funny. He was good on SNL, but I don't like his movies at all.
Yeah, it just doesn't transition. I guess it transitioned well for the first, movie or two when you're like, oh, okay, he's got a little bit of a shtick here
Yeah,
in regards to his acting, and same situation with his stand-up. But the first movie or two, it transitioned well. But it's like a Melissa McCarthy when you've had 5 to 7 movies come out within 18 months and they're all the same character. We're like, okay, we get it. We diversify yourself or slow down. But of course if you follow him on Snapchat or Instagram, like this guy, he's just working just as hard as The Rock when it comes to social media. Like he's always posting stuff. He's always like making sure that his name is out there. He's got like his own emojis. He's always got his own like Adidas like shoe line. So like he is diversified in regards to business aspects. But when it comes to movies, he's the same character every time, which of course is paying him, but it's not going to pay him for much longer if he doesn't try to do something new.
yeah, exactly. He pinned his game with Ride Along, and then he's just been kind of riding that ever since.
Oh yeah, I mean even Ice Cube plays the same. He's been playing Craig from Friday since 1994 in every movie. So it's like, I mean, granted he wasn't in like this rush of like stuff, this whole rush of fame like Kevin Hart was, where he's like in a movie every 3 to 6 months, but he spanned it out over a couple years. But like I said, it's the same character over and over. But Kevin Hart's getting to that point. Jack Black, he diversifies himself. He does some series. He did the Mud movie not too long ago. It was more of a serious movie that I enjoyed with Matthew McConaughey. And of course, he jumped right back into some more comedy stuff with Goosebumps that was pretty successful. So I think this has helped him get this role as well. So I don't know. Maybe it'll prompt him to do another Tenacious D album. Let's hope that happens. Get Kyle Gass up in there. Give him some parts.
Tenacious D and the Pick of Destiny is one of the most underrated comedies of the last 10 years.
I still watch it on the HBO Go. I think I watched it like a week ago.
It's a fantastic movie. Everyone should watch it.
Oh, yeah. So, yeah, I'm interested in this movie. When I heard about it at first, automatically, you just kind of brush it off. You're like, another reboot, another remake. But then you heard, okay, The Rock is attached. Okay, well, The Rock is automatic franchise booster. Like he went to the Fast and Furious, he went to he went to G.I. Joe. I'm trying to think who else he went to, but he's just basically a franchise booster. Yeah. I don't know if they're trying to make this a franchise, but they think it's a good vehicle for him. But it's good to have co-stars like Kevin Hart and Jack Black, who do have some clout in other areas. So I think the Hollywood studios are trusting The Rock with his own material, just not completely at this point. They want to still test it out because they still remember the Scorpion King and that whole Hercules movie. So they're like, look, we'll let you try, but you're going to have some training wheels, and those training wheels are Jack Black and Kevin Hart. So That's pretty much it. And like I said, once I heard all the cast came together, I was like, okay, they may go a different direction. It might be, at least entertaining. I don't know if it's going to be like the classic, I don't know if I want to call it the first Jumanji a pure classic, but it was a good remembering movie to go back into the 90s. So I don't know if this one will fit that bar, but at least I think it could be entertaining with the cast that they have.
Yeah,
So what'd you say?
I'd be lying if I said I wasn't going to go see it.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I'm going to go see it. I mean, like I said, the cast is enough for me to be like, all right, I'm intrigued. And then the fact that, of course, they pick a franchise that people of our age, of course, are like, fine, I'll go see it out of obligation, and hopefully I can be entertained. So that's kind of what crossing our fingers. That's basically how we're going into this one. So moving on to the next thing, unless you had anything else to say about good old Jumanji.
I do not. I think
no other words must be spoken about this. So the next one we'll talk about is Will Ferrell. He recently bailed on a movie, Captain Dad, days before it was about to start shooting. And this is kind of a minimal news thing, but it's just kind of funny or just strange that he would leave a project so soon, the same week or days before it's shooting. He hasn't really given a reason as to why he did it, but he had co-stars like Michael Cera and Catherine Keener. So they're basically struggling to find a new actor to fill the role. I know Will Ferrell seems like a pretty laid-back guy. What do you think would be the reason that he would leave a movie so abruptly?
The only thing I can think of is there's a better project that's come up, because he doesn't seem like the kind of guy to be a prima donna and leave because of rewrites or or casting. I have a feeling that there's something big in his pipeline that he's just landed that is causing him to move this.
And it was an indie film, so it's not like it's one of those blockbusters that you bail on. The company's going to sue you for millions and millions of dollars. I'm sure he broke a few hearts. I'm sure a guy's not going to be happy or want to work with him again. But like you said, there's probably a bigger project that had a bigger payday or more of his interest that he's just like, I think I'm just going to move on to this.
I'm hoping it's Step Brothers 2.
I am hoping that too. I think they had announced something that they were wanting to get it together, but we've had so many sequels when it comes to comedies like Anchorman 2, Dumb and Dumber 2, Zoolander 2. Now, if we get Step Brothers 2, I really hope it breaks the mold because these last few movies, in my opinion, none of them really made me laugh like the originals.
No, Anchorman 2 is probably the closest one. There was some stuff I really laughed pretty hard at in Anchorman 2, but the rest of them were awful.
I didn't even finish Dumb and Dumber 2.
No,
I couldn't. I looked at my wife. I was like, I can't do this. Like this is hurting my feelings. How unfunny this movie is right now.
Bad. Not the worst comedy sequel I've ever seen, but it's pretty bad.
Not the worst, but man, when you're gonna remake a classic like that movie, geez, put some more effort into it, please.
Yeah. Joe Dirt 2 is the worst movie I've probably ever seen.
I haven't watched it. There's the one on Netflix, right, or wherever it's at.
You can watch it for free on Crackle.
I thought Crackle was like a YouTube or just is it a YouTube channel or is it its own website?
I think it's like it's a PlayStation app now. But,
okay.
But they have free content.
Well, if Joe Dirt if it's basically it now straight to Crackle or things like that, it's the equivalent to straight to DVD or VHS, then I imagine Joe Dirt's sequel wasn't that great.
It is honestly the worst movie I've ever seen.
Isn't it like I heard it was like space travel or time travel or something?
Time travel due to a tornado.
Oh, great. All the elements, no elements that were even involved whatsoever in the first movie. Let's throw it all into the second.
Now, it's like they took Joe Dirt with the worst parts of The Wizard of Oz and the worst parts of It's a Wonderful Life and just tried to make this big mess of a turd.
Well, David Spade, he was that movie, and then he was in that Adam Sandler movie with and the Netflix, The Do-Over, which I heard was pretty good. I haven't seen that one.
I didn't hate it. It was okay.
Yeah, I heard it was decent, but I think it still on itself didn't get great ratings on Netflix. I don't know if Netflix is still kicking themselves yet for that Adam Sandler deal. Like the what was it, the Ridiculous Six? I watched the first like half hour. I was like, I don't know. I don't know if I'm just like I grew out of 1995 Sandler, or if I'm just like an old shrew at this point.
Yeah, I didn't even give that one a shot. I heard from the get-go that it was pretty awful, so I didn't even mess with it.
Yeah, I wouldn't give it a shot. But, yeah, like all these sequels we're getting, I understand if you want to reboot, a comedy or whatever from like the 80s, 90s, give it a try. But, like some of these movies that they're trying, like they're actual good classic movies that they had no point in the story that they opened it up for a sequel, but they just had to bring them back. So we're getting a lot of that, but maybe if Will Ferrell bailed on this movie to go do Step Brothers 2, I wouldn't be mad at him, and I actually think that they'd be doing a good job. Oh, but the other thing, the last sequel that we're getting that has some hope is they started filming Super Troopers 2, and Rob Lowe is apparently in the movie now too.
I did see that.
So he's playing some mayor or something like that. So I imagine he's just going to be what's his face from Parks and Rec the whole time. Basically, Rob Lowe in every character.
Yeah.
So yeah, so we got some hope for that in regards to when it comes to a sequel. So we'll see if maybe he did jettison off to Step Brothers 2. So the next thing I want to talk about is the Hollywood sex ring that's been revealed by the two Coreys, Corey Haim and Corey Feldman, are Donatello and License to Drive fellows from back in the day. According to some news outlets, it seems that one of Hollywood's most recognizable faces is a child rapist, and they may be outed soon. I think in 2010, in that show, the two Coreys they had, Feldman and Haim, or Haim actually revealed that he was, raped as a 11-year-old in Hollywood by Hollywood executive. So basically, since then, Feldman's been on, pushing it for this abuse to be revealed in Hollywood. So what do you think when you hear this? It's something that I kind of heard rumors about, as time gone on, but I've never seen articles or anything dedicated to it. But of course, a lot of people don't say stuff because they feel like they're going to be ostracized. But are you surprised, or have you heard about this before as well?
I've heard about it before, but I've never really put a whole lot of I've never looked into it a whole lot, and I still feel, and I could end up feeling really awful about this, but I feel like it's an attention grab for the Coreys. I feel like they're trying to stay relevant, so they're coming up with these the most outlandish things. Look at what Corey did on the Today Show a couple days ago. I don't know if you've seen that.
What did he do?
He's got a new EDM track that he's made, and he went on the Today Show to premiere it. And he's got this backing band of women dressed as angels, and he's doing marionette stuff.
Is he still rocking his Michael Jackson outfits?
Yeah, he looks like Michael Jackson, like a Michael Jackson impersonator. It's pretty cringy to watch.
There's the one, I have to look it up real quick. There's a song that he has on YouTube, and it's called Millennium something, and it's a horrible song, but it's also it's one of those horrible catchy songs. What is it called? Millennium Ascension. So when you get the chance, you have to witness this video, Millennium Ascension, and it's basically when rich kids in Hollywood parents get to pay a record studio to make a video and an album for them. That's basically the quintessential of what this video is. It's mid-budget, so you can say it's not completely low budget, but they didn't have MTV there. It was right in the middle. It's they have sponsored tents around so they can make sure the video is made. So yeah, I understand what you're saying in regards to a little bit of attention grab when it comes to this, because they, of course they've been around since the 80s, but Corey Feldman's really hasn't done much work any real work ever since. Maybe I think they did a Lost Boys 3 straight to DVD. He might have been in that one.
He's hoping for that Goonies too.
Oh man, really, he's really hoping that they'll be like, can we be in it? Can the parents, as parents or as siblings, or just I'll be a bum on the street they can walk by. I don't care. Just give him a part. I'm sure that's what he's asking for. But kind of going a little more into it, I guess some other actors have kind of chimed in saying that even Elijah Wood, we all watched Elijah Wood and Radio Flyer, all those sweet movies back in the day. And I guess he was saying that, he kind of knew of something going on in Hollywood, but he was kind of protected from it because his mom didn't allow him to go to those Hollywood parties they would have for, the actors and everybody. And so when Corey Feldman and those guys would go, or other people, apparently they would pass around these kids sexually and give them drugs and alcohol and all these if they say if you can think it happened kind of a thing. So I definitely get what you're saying in regards to attention grab, because they've had so long to reveal who it is. They've had from the 80s till now to oust somebody, and especially since if you're not doing it in fear of not getting work, well, Corey Feldman, you really haven't worked in a long time, so there's nothing you really should be waiting on. Just do it. You just reveal who it is. Apparently the statute of limitations doesn't allow them to actually do anything officially with the law, but at least letting the world know who it is can have some effect. So what do you think about that?
I just think he's trying to drag it out longer and longer because it keeps him relevant. It keeps people are going to keep interviewing and asking until he gives an actual name to try to throw somebody under the bus.
Yeah, no, I definitely understand that, because if he really had a name and he was really that concerned about it, he would have done it by now. So I do agree that I think it's a little bit of both. I think he's dragging it out, but I think there's got to be some truth to it of multiple talented actors.
There could very well be something to it. I'm not saying that at all, but I feel why, like you said, why have you waited 25, 30 years to say something?
Yeah, exactly. And even after it was 2010 when Corey Haim, on the show before he died, he admitted that he was raped and things like that. So it's been 6 years since then. So it's a lot of things could have happened since even then. So if they really haven't really pulled the trigger, then yeah, it is leaning more toward just dragging it on and basically leading everybody on at this point. So we'll see. They say it could be soon. Maybe we'll find out, some executive or maybe even some star that you never knew about could be the ouster, or the oustee. So we'll see. The next thing we want to talk about is Jurassic World. It's a huge budget. Let's see, they're getting $260 million
Yeah.
budget. So the first movie had $110 million, and so they hit the 1 billion mark, the Trace Comas level in regards to box office. But Universal is getting real happy here by giving a $260 million budget. That means, granted, if they don't hit $1 billion, they'll still come out on top, but it's going to be less money than the first one. And sequels generally make less than the first one. And this is supposed to be a trilogy. So it makes it even worse because the first movie and the third movie usually make the most money. So I'm not sure why they went $110 million more for this one, which means the third movie could have like a $400 million budget. So what do you think about this huge budget? Is it necessary? Is it just setting a bad precedent in regards to the budgets in Hollywood and how the pressure's on to hit that $1 billion mark?
It just seems like that's a lot of money for a movie, man. Because you gotta consider that by the time marketing and everything's done for this movie, you're looking at somewhere probably between $500 and $700 million.
Yeah, I was gonna say 700 just for the break
know,
even point. Yeah.
so you've got to make $1 billion to make this franchise stay that worth making. I feel like. I mean, they're going to keep pumping them out because people are going to go, but to really feel like you made money, you have to make like 1.2 billion. I feel like.
Yeah, and I feel like this is gonna have a little bit of that Rogue One effect, where like, even I forget who the head of somewhere at Disney was trying to tame people's expectations. Like, hey, Star Wars: The Force Awakens came out, and it was huge because people hadn't seen Star Wars in a long time. It was getting a reboot, it's having a new, fresh look, and it was just going off nostalgia. So like all these things were building up, and that's why The Force Awakens, on top of being a Star Wars franchise, but all those other things added on top for it to be such a huge hit. And the same thing for Jurassic World. We hadn't seen a good Jurassic Park movie in years. We got 2 and 3 and the Lost World and the third one. And so we hadn't seen a good one in a long time, and we get this one. It's actually pretty entertaining. It wasn't like a great movie, but it was entertaining. I enjoyed it, and I have a feeling that it's going to have the same effect. Like, yeah, we saw the first one and we loved it, but what's going to make us come back to the second one? What's going to be bigger and better? Because they have to step up the story game, because we already know the effects will be okay, but what's the story going to be about?
Yeah, like what more can you do? So I mean, you're going to have to dig deep and actually come up with something, because another big dinosaur is not going to put people to see this movie more than once. Like, they'll go the first weekend and you're going to see like a 60-70% box office drop if all we have is another big dinosaur.
Yeah, and I think what I think they should do, and like they've always discussed it in the books, they've always discussed it in some point in every movie, it feels like, weaponizing these dinosaurs. It's like the military steals the DNA and they like go ahead and start using them. Like, I think for the second or third movie, or maybe it was for this movie, they had ideas of like humanoid dinosaurs. Like, they had mixed humans and dinosaurs together, so that was going to be like a part of the plot, which sounds weird and crazy, but at this point they need to go that way because we've seen the same plot kind of 4 times now.
Yeah, there's an old cartoon from when we were younger. It's called Dino Riders.
Oh yeah.
It reminds me of like
Yeah.
these future 2 or 3 more Jurassic movies. I have a feeling we're going to end up in Dino Rider territory by the time it's over with.
Dino Riders. Oh yeah, I remember that show. Yeah, it is funny because they really have to go crazy at this point, because we've been in the park like 3 times now. We've done the dinosaurs are loose in a city kind of thing. We've done the whole dinosaurs are on their own island with no limitations. So now I feel like, yeah, the last movie, what's his name, was trying to get the dinosaurs' DNA or try to use them, the raptors. What's that?
Vincent D'Onofrio.
That's right. Vincent D'Onofrio was trying to get them, the raptors, at least for military use. So maybe they should start out the movie. It's like, ever since, the park went under again, the military came in to calm things down, but they also confiscated a bunch of the dinosaurs and started using them for their own uses, which, like I said, it's, sounds kind of corny, but I feel like that's just how they have to go.
Yeah, I don't see any other way that they're going to go with that. I mean, they set the movie up that way, and if they go that way, that's fine. But just give me something that makes it worth watching. Don't give me the same cookie cutter thing that I'm expecting.
Like the water dinosaur, that was a cool addition. I like that. They used it well. They used it well at the end. Spoiler alert! But hey, it was awesome. I liked how they utilized the new dinosaur.
Exactly. Yeah.
I'm interested. I don't know if the $260 million budget is gonna, like you said, it's gonna shorten that gap. That profit margin gap is gonna get real slim there, unless they, the marketing basically has to start now, because I think it's coming out next summer.
Yeah.
Which next summer is gonna be a pretty solid summer for movies. It's gonna not be like this summer. It's gonna be like 2015 summer, where every movie was like just blowing your mind. You're like, wow, what's going on? What's going on here? Whereas 2016, our expectations were set so high, and then you get there and just keep getting lower and lower every time you went to a movie.
This summer was a real bummer.
It really was. I'm not gonna lie. There's some movies that I was super pumped for. What was it? Independence Day Resurgence, Suicide Squad. What other ones that I was just like, I walked out shaking my head. I was like, man, thought this was gonna be it. Batman v Superman. I enjoyed the Ultimate Cut a little bit more, but even watching in theaters, I said what? I said what more than a few times, more than I should have in a Batman movie.
Yeah,
Superman movie.
That movie was a mess. Like the plot holes in that movie you could drive through.
Oh yeah, and then like it was jarring because now that we've seen so many movies, I guess we know how to critique, or we've seen a lot of like the editing as well. It's like it felt like all those scenes were like 6 seconds, and then they cut to the next ones, no transition, no nothing.
Yeah, they did like. It felt like I was watching 3 movies. Like I felt like I was watching a Justice League setup movie, and then 45 minutes of it wanted to be a Man of Steel sequel, and then an hour of it wanted to be a Batman solo movie, and it just couldn't decide what kind of movie it wanted to be, and it just turned out to be a mess. And then the whole, just for the sake of it, throwing in the email files with the Justice League in them.
Oh man, I will never get over that scene. I was like personally offended how bad that scene was.
Their logos are already in it, like they're already superheroes with logos.
And then like the cyborg was like, it looked like a CW like green screen type of setup. It's like they put no effort time into it. It was total like after the fact. Like, how are we gonna introduce them? Zack Snyder, let's just put it in an email for Batman to look at.
Yeah, that movie was a mess. And Lex Luthor was terrible.
You mean Edward Nygma too?
Yeah, I don't know why. How do you not let Bryan Cranston play that role? How does that not happen?
He passed up 2 roles. He passed up Gordon. He passed up Lex Luthor. But he's going to be Zordon. He's going to be Zordon in Power Rangers.
Yeah, like you pass up those 2, but you take Zordon? Like what are you thinking, bud?
Yeah, and then he gets killed off in like the first act of Godzilla, where I thought the whole movie was going to be about him. I was excited, and then he dies. Sorry, spoiler alert again, but I can't believe they killed him also early in Godzilla.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I just don't know about these the sequels and the budgets and things like that. Like, especially for the third movie, because Jurassic World is supposed to be a franchise, so I can't imagine what the third movie budget is going to be like. And hopefully, it should make it back, because, like I said, the first and third movies make the most. But this second one, this is going to be a tight fit for them. So we'll have to see how it goes. So hopefully the story gets better. That's all we can ask for. That's all what we're asking for. It's just let the story be cool, not be the same, chasing around dinosaurs on a park or in an island. Let's do something different. So
what if they go like the Planet of the Apes way with it? I would be okay with that. Like
they become smart and start talking.
Yeah, like just kind of humanize them a little bit.
Didn't they did that for one scene in Jurassic, or in the third one, where that raptor turned and says, yeah. I forgot what's his name. I can't think of that, but that scene in the plane where he's having the dream and the raptor looks over him. It's like, oh my god. So maybe they'll start talking. Maybe they'll become intelligent, because the raptors were at least communicating with each other. Maybe we can actually get them to start talking to each other.
Yeah.
So we'll see. Either talking to each other or militarized. Let's do one of them, or at least let's do both. They start talking to each other, and they militarize themselves. So it's just an army of dinosaurs commanding themselves. Boom. Yeah.
Let's just, and like seriously, by the third one, they'll just make it full Dino Riders, and it'll just be called Jurassic World 3 Dino Riders.
They're not even going to make the third one. They're just going to have clips from the 80s show in there.
An hour and a half long cartoon episode.
It's like, we don't even care, but it's still $500 million budget. Let's do this. So yeah, hopefully they'll listen to us and they go with that. So All right, so we're down to the last couple of topics, and then we'll get into ones that you want to talk about. One of the last ones is Jared Leto is going to be playing Andy Warhol in a biopic with the Social Network and Captain Phillips producer Michael De Lucia. And so I guess Jared Leto, he's kind of built his clout. He's lost a little clout. He had divided people that were divided with the Joker in regards to Suicide Squad, but then he went on and he signed on with Blade Runner, the Blade Runner reboot. And so now he's kind of going back to his indie roots in regards to this independent biopic. Or I guess it wouldn't be too independent, but it's going to be a little more arty than it was the last few movies he's going to be in. So what do you think of this choice? Do you think it's a good one for him since he won his Oscar, but he's been in some blockbusters that might take him away from that type of acting?
I feel like this is a perfect thing for him. Like the eccentricity of Warhol but also the reclusiveness. Like it just seems like this could be a really good, maybe another potential Oscar for Jared Leto. Obviously that all depends on if the script's any good, but on paper it seems to fit him very well, I think.
Yeah, and I mean, just if anyone follows him on social media or has followed him since he's in that band 30 Seconds to Mars, is he is a little bit of a quirky guy, not only as a method actor or an actor, but even as a musician. He has a little bit of an off personality, and in regards to humor and things like that. So yeah, I agree. I think his personality and the way he carries himself, would go hand in hand with an Andy Warhol type of character. So I figured he'd fit in real. I mean, they wouldn't even have to send him to wardrobe. Just come in your green dress you wore for the premiere of Suicide Squad. Just wear that the whole time.
Exactly.
So
made for it.
Exactly. So I don't know. Like I said, I like Jared Leto. I've enjoyed a lot of his movies. The Dallas Buyers Club, where he won the Oscar for, I think he did a pretty good job in that movie. I'm trying to think what other movies that he was in right before that. I can't think of any right at the top of my head because I know he had taken some time off to tour. He wanted to do some albums and things like that. But he got back in as soon as he won the Oscar. He did the whole you got the Joker, which everyone thought was going to be the next iconic Joker, which to some people's eyes it is, but to me I thought okay, it was kind of middle ground. It wasn't the worst Joker, but it wasn't the best Joker. What did you think of him?
I need to see some more. And it sounds like the stuff that they filmed, he filmed a lot of stuff that he thought was going to be in the movie that wasn't. So it might not be his fault that we didn't see enough Joker, but I'm hoping maybe in this standalone Batman movie or maybe Justice League or something we get to see a little bit more of this Joker, because I like some of it, but some of it I just need to see some more to see what I really think, I guess.
Yeah, it's some things you can only take in small doses, whereas the Joker, I want in larger doses. And so when you're talking about getting him in just a few scenes here and there where none of them he was even associated with the Suicide Squad, they're all on his own. So I wondered what other scenes they had where he was there with the Suicide Squad, fighting them or going against them. So yeah, it's not his fault that, the scenes didn't come across like he thought, or he even complained that they pitched him a whole different scenario how the movie was going to go down. And so he was confused. So he didn't know how it was going to turn out. And he was just kind of going with the flow. And of course, it kind of, in some degree, has some backlash in regards to, I guess, the angle they went. But the movie made money. So the movie wasn't a flop. It made money. It's just people, actual fans or fans who are fans of the characters, maybe didn't think it was as great as it was, or it wasn't the Guardians of the Galaxy for DC like they thought.
Yeah, that's exactly what I thought it was going to be, and I was really disappointed with the movie. Aside from Will Smith and Margot Robbie, I just didn't really care for the movie for the most part.
The only thing I was pumped at, I was like, they gave good old Jay Hernandez some work, man. That guy's been chilling, and all of a sudden he's in Suicide Squad.
Yeah, he looks totally different. I didn't even recognize him.
No, it was to the point where I was looking at the IMDb one time before it came out. I was like, Jay Hernandez, the guy from Blue Crush and Hostel, early 2000s. Jay Hernandez, my alias that I used back in high school, and when I would go on trips, hi, my name's Jay Hernandez. How you doing? So it was a little oh, that guy out of nowhere got some work. All right, Jay, represent. He was all right.
Yeah, he was all right in it.
It wasn't too he wasn't playing. He wasn't too stereotypical, but he played a part just right.
Yeah.
But yeah, like you said, other than Margot Robbie and Will Smith, I thought the whole Enchantress part was just like there's just no reason this person should even be in this movie at all.
Probably. I mean, and I know Marvel villains are notoriously not good, but Enchantress was just made me like I just felt like what? Like
Yeah, so she was she's on your team, and then she escaped, and so now this whole thing is about fighting her, even though like you didn't have a villain to fight before, but now you do thanks to what's her face, Amanda Waller, who just stabs the little doll every time she gets angry at the Enchantress. So I was like, man, are these coming up with these ideas on the fly? Like, I don't know. I know I didn't read the comics, but this can't be right.
No, and what was the whole like rhythmic dancing thing?
Oh man, you talking about the
pop and lock? Yeah.
Oh yeah, as I was watching this movie, I was like, I don't know if I'm entranced by this because I hate it so much, or like it's actually like doing its job and like trying to like entrance you. But like I was just like, this I can't be the only one who doesn't like it. And thankfully, that was one of the main things people talked about was how terrible that looked and how it just kind of was thrown together. Like, what was this machine that she was talking about that was like supposedly going on behind her? There's no talk about that. That thing was just moving behind her. There was no effect that it had on the plot. They didn't mention it any other time than when like the 2 times it was mentioned during the new movie. So,
at what point are we going to stop doing that in movies? Like the big hole in
the big beam, the big beam in the sky.
Yeah, like what? How many times are we going to see this before they move on to something else?
I don't know. We've seen it in Fantastic Four, saw it in SpiderMan, Ninja Turtles, Avengers. Yeah, it's like. And that's, I mean, I've done a whole video on the fact where I focused on that part where, like, you know, the reason probably this summer's box office maybe gone down is because some of these movies, these blockbusters, they fall into a template when it comes to the second and third act to the point where, yeah, we know that they're going to fight the villains in a big city with some sort of beam going up for whatever reason, and there's no tension because all of our heroes are going to survive. So it's like, yeah, we know what's going to happen. We need some tension. We need some characters to actually die off. We need something because, yeah, we're getting the same plot points over and over.
Like even with Civil War, obviously that wasn't the same type of ending, but I was hoping Civil War was going to be like the Empire Strikes Back of the Marvel Universe. Like, leave me some negativity. Like, you know, leave me where was my Han Solo and Carbonite? Like, what is that? In the Marvel Universe, like
Rhodey's body should have exploded, and then when he fell to the ground.
Yeah, or I mean, something should have happened like that makes you dread what's coming in the next movie. Whereas, you know, the very end, you know, Cap gives that glimpse of hope with Tony. It gives him the phone and tells him to call him, even though he's clearly given up the Captain America name, which, you know, we'll see if he comes back, but. Give me something negative, like give me something dreary to carry into this next movie.
Well, Marvel's been so bad about that. They like even in Ultron, you know, the trailers and everything for that. They're like, hey, someone's gonna die off. You know, you're not gonna know who it is. It's gonna be a main character, and it's Quicksilver. Like, well, who gives a damn about Quicksilver? You had to kill him off because X-Men had Quicksilver, and you didn't want 2 Quicksilvers out there.
And the X-Men Quicksilver is so much better.
Way better.
Evan Peters is like perfect Quicksilver.
Exactly. So yeah, so they killed off a character, but it was just like, no one cares about that character. And the death itself was so stupid that even if it was a big character, it was done so poorly that it wouldn't have mattered. But yeah, I agree. No tension in these movies at all toward the end. So that's what they're saying about the Infinity War. Be prepared because, you know, we're going to be losing characters, well, AKA contracts are going to be coming up that are not going to be renewed. So those people are gone at that point.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious to see what they do with Captain America. Like, are they going to have Anthony Mackie? Are they going to have Sebastian Stan? Like, who's?
Yeah, I was to say because then Falcon or actually like the Winter Soldier takes over at some point in the comics.
Yeah. Winter Soldier and the Falcon both have been Captain America at one point.
Yeah, so I mean, they're gonna have to go with those lines because I mean we got the introduction movies and then we get like the team movies and now they gotta like really dive deep and like get into these weird storylines or off storylines because like you said we've seen templates of the same movie over and over. Now let's just actually instead of adapting comics and changing the story, just take the damn story and run with it because they're actually pretty interesting.
Like what if they? Because it seems pretty clear that Sebastian Stan, you know, the Winter Soldier, is going to be involved in the Black Panther movie somehow. What if that ends up being a new Captain America Black Panther team up movie?
Like that'd be pretty badass.
Or they lead into him being Captain America in that movie somehow. If he's able to rebuild his arm. Spoiler alert. Rebuild his arm, and that to me is the most ideal scenario. Sam Wilson or the Falcon as Captain America is cool, but without the wingsuit on, he has no, like, unless you're going to
more of a one-liner kind of guy.
Yeah, you're not going to give him the serum.
Yeah.
Anthony Mackie's kind of a poor man's Will Smith. And, I like Anthony Mackie, but he wants to be Will Smith real bad.
Oh yeah, he might as well try to marry Jada. That's how bad he wants to be Will Smith. No, I agree. I think it'd be cool for Black Panther and Winter Soldier because they had the best scene. I feel like the best chase scene in Winter Soldier or in Captain America: Civil War, when they're chasing each other through that underpassage and chasing each other, speeding past the cars. I'm like, oh man, this is intense. And then like Bucky grabbing that motorcycle, like all their parts, the Black Panther's part and Bucky's parts were part of one of my favorite of Civil War. So I definitely would love to see a team up between those two because man, those guys would be a tough duo to take down because they have some pretty awesome features to themselves.
And eventually, just from the few minutes that we got, I would love to see if Bucky is going to take up Captain America, a Captain America Falcon movie, because the scenes with them fighting Spider-Man in Civil War is some of the best stuff in that movie. Like the writing and the timing is so good that I would watch a buddy movie with those two in it.
Oh yeah, the best was like when they first saw Spider-Man. He's like, "What the hell is that?" He's like, "Everyone's got a gimmick now these days." I started cracking up. I was like, "Oh, that's just good stuff." And yeah, they're bickering as they're fighting throughout that whole part with Spider-Man was great. Even at the end, he's like, "You could have done that earlier. I hate you."
I hate you. Yeah.
so yeah, no, I agree on both. I think a buddy one with the Falcon and Bucky, or Bucky and Black Panther, just fine with me. I think the way they're going to carry on with Captain America, I mean, it sounds like they're trying to tie everything back together. Like, hey, I'm leaving, but I'm not leaving, kind of a thing again. So it's kind of like Tony Stark saying he's done with the Avengers after every movie, but he's back in the Iron Man suit at the beginning of the next movie.
Exactly. I still think there's an Iron Man 4 somewhere. I think RDJ's got one more Iron Man in him, and give us a real Mandarin. Give us the real Mandarin.
Hey, I do. I as disappointed as I was when I saw Iron Man 3, and I was like, what? That's not the Mandarin. I was like, all right. Hopefully that's in their back pockets and they'll give us another one. But yeah, they do need to redeem themselves because Iron Man 1 was so awesome, but 2 and 3 were like, they weren't bad, but they could have been better. So I'm hoping maybe a fourth one will tie it up.
And they've made it clear that the Mandarin does exist in the Marvel Universe. Like with that one shot, I don't know if you watched it, but I think it's on maybe the Winter Soldier Blu-ray, but there's a one-shotter called Hail to the King. And they make it clear that the real Mandarin does exist because he's pissed at Ben Kingsley's character for making him,
for faking it,
a mockery of him or whatever.
Yeah.
So it's clear that what is his name? Guy Ritchie.
Yeah, I was like, Guy Ritchie's not the Mandarin with his flaming mouth.
Well, this guy is apparently the real Mandarin is out there. So I would be curious to see who they go with that.
Well, and then I guess they kind of shied away from the Mandarin, the actual Mandarin character, because of course they thought it was going to be too racist or whatever it was, whatever the reasons were. But yeah, if it's a real Mandarin still out there and they want to reveal it in another Iron Man movie, I'm all for it. We need Robert Downey Jr. in at least one more movie because he's getting up there. He's like he's over 50 at this point, right?
50, yeah.
Yeah. So he's not. We don't want a Harrison Ford Iron Man coming in playing when he's 68 years old. The suit's still working well, but he's all grayed up, and just the goatee's not quite there anymore.
We don't need an Iron Man in the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull.
No, part-time. We don't need none of that. So let's see. So the last thing that I have on the agenda is the Mad Max Wasteland going into pre-production after last year's the Mad Max Fury Road, which I personally think is one of my favorite movies of last year, and now probably my top 10 at this point, thanks to all those kick-ass chase scenes and the flaming guitar But the movie was a big hit among fans, but like everybody, a lot of people, that the determining factor for a sequel is the box office. You got to make enough money before you get that box office. And it squeaked in. I think it made about $387 million on the $150 million budget. So it wasn't like an automatic green light, but it was like, it's good. It's decent enough. We could make some money on the next one. And so they're going to do the Mad Max Wasteland, which is a prequel that's going to involve more of Charlize Theron's Furiosa. And I don't even know if they're going to have Mad Max in this movie. It sounds like not at all, more for the story and for the fact that Charlize Theron and Tom Hardy pretty much hated each other's guts on the first one. So what do you think? Do you like the fact they're making another one? Do you think it would have been good with just the one Mad Max we got? What do you think?
I think they probably should have just left it alone, but at the same time, Furiosa is such a good character that, maybe she does deserve her own movie. Give her a little bit of a backstory. But I don't know if this is made to be like another cinematic universe, if you will. Like, I don't think we need 5, 6 Mad Max movies. Like, I think there's only so much you can do without ruining, tarnishing the good movies.
Yeah, it's kind of. I would say it is a good chance of diluting the product at this point, because the first one that we just got, or the Fury Road, was so awesome. It was such a fresh breath of air in regards to like the practical effects, the straightforward story. Just an older director coming in, showing all these other directors that you can make a movie within a decent sized budget and make it as awesome as he did. And so, yeah, it was not I wouldn't want to call it an anomaly, but it was definitely the exception from last year that people were like, wow, this movie is awesome. Maybe we should make another one. Do you think we should make another one? It's like, I don't know. This one's kind of like a gem on its own. It needs to stay. Doesn't need to be. Not every movie that does well needs to be a franchise. Granted, Hollywood's a business, and that's what they're thinking.
Yeah, they're gonna cash in on whatever they can on this, but I just really hope that they don't overdo it and ruin it.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing I'm asking for is, like, yes, they're gonna have the backstory of Furiosa, maybe like how she ended up there, the Citadel or whatever. But all I ask is they have just as much, if not more, kick-ass chase scenes, because that was what made this last movie. All the explosions, all like the stuntmen that you saw flying everywhere. It's just crazy. Like you're more mesmerized and wondering what was real, what wasn't real, as opposed to just watching a full CGI screen and just kind of like not believing it.
Yeah, and I really get a strong vibe. Like, I feel like this could be the Pirates of the Caribbean franchise of this.
It's a great analogy.
In the fact that, Curse of the Black Pearl was so good and nobody expected it to be good. You see, oh, cool, they're making a Pirates movie. Like, it's one of the lamest rides at Disney.
Mm-hmm.
So it's one of the oldest ones, and you don't expect it to be good, and it turns out that this movie's awesome. The first Pirates movie is a well-made action.
Oh yeah, I'll watch it to this day, but I can't watch any other ones.
The second one is okay. The third and fourth are not good.
So they're making the fifth though. They're doing the fifth one.
Just because the fourth one, as bad as this, still made $1 billion.
It's the Transformers effect. It's just like, it doesn't matter how bad it is. It's now that the name has garnered so much attention that it's going to make a certain amount of money.
Yeah, I mean, as long as you put Michael Bay or Jerry Bruckheimer on a movie, it's going to get greenlit. So. Oh
yeah, and Johnny Depp, he's cashing in until everyone really realizes that he's not trying anymore.
Yeah, he's due for a good one at some point, right?
I thought the Whitey Bulger one's gonna be good, but his performance was good, but I was so focused on like the makeup and everything going on. I was just like, I think they went a little too much with it.
And I know a decent amount about Whitey Bulger, so the performance was good, but I knew it was Johnny Depp. Like, it's not, It wasn't like Jamie Foxx and Ray. It felt more like a Joaquin Phoenix Walk the Line to me. Like, it was, you knew someone was playing Johnny Cash. Like, you didn't feel like they were in.
They're doing more of an impression than being that person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it Jamie Foxx, like, lost him, so, or, not one of those transcendent performances like, Heath Ledger in The Dark Knight, where you didn't know that you forgot it was Heath Ledger. Like, you would never know that it was Heath Ledger.
Yeah, and with Johnny Depp, he has played a couple of these characters, or the demeanor is similar to some other characters he's played before. So it's kind of like it's not too far off the beaten path from what he's played before or what he's capable of.
Yeah,
Like you said, like Heath Ledger, like you watch him in 10 Things I Hate About You, and then you watch The Dark Knight, you're like, oh, this is the same dude.
the same
You
dude.
don't no idea.
Yeah. So Johnny Depp due for something, but that wasn't the project for him. I don't.
Well, it wasn't this latest Alice in Wonderland either. So he'll keep swinging. They'll keep giving him movies for however long.
But and I like Johnny Depp. I'll keep seeing Johnny Depp movies. I can't say that I've seen one in the theater in several years, but I do like Johnny Depp.
I do too. We're just really hoping that he's gonna have to pull like a Matthew McConaughey and get yourself out of the rom-com shitty movies and start getting into the actual meaty good roles that he used to be like in Blow and like what was the movie with Al Pacino? We went undercover. Johnny Brasco, yeah. So movies like that.
Johnny Depp movie.
You what?
My favorite Johnny Depp movie.
Yeah, see those are the movies. Those are the ones that I enjoyed. All those like mid to late '90s movies were like prime Johnny Depp at that point. So we had prime Johnny Depp and prime Adam Sandler at the same time, and we lost them both. So it's just unfortunate. But that was everything I had. What were some of the things that you wanted to go over?
I want to see what you think about Doctor Strange.
Yeah, I don't know about it. I don't know anything about Doctor Strange coming in before the trailer or any like announcement. But Benedict Cumberbatch, he for me is still on that tail end of like, Jesus, this guy's gonna get every part in Hollywood. But then again, he's such a great actor that I'm not surprised. And then I guess hearing some of the news like the whitewashing, which I don't know the characters either, so I don't know who was supposed to be white or Asian or black or anything. But the movie itself, when I saw the trailer, I think it looks pretty solid visually. They're doing the whole, people made the Inception comparisons in regards to how they're doing the magic or the crazy worlds they're going to be in. The villain, I forgot the actor's name from. He's on the TV show, the ABC show. I can't remember his name. He was a villain in one of the Bond movies too. He looks pretty cool, but I don't know. I've heard that the movie has had a lot of reshoots, which are, they come with every movie. But I think they're trying to lighten up the tone as well with this one.
Yeah, and some Marvel movies, they feel like they have to have that light tone. I feel like they're not going to make a darker movie, which sometimes is a bummer. But I think this movie could be good. I don't really understand the casting of Tilda Swinton as the Asian
as the ancient one, the ancient Asian one, but we'll just call him the ancient one.
I don't know who I would have put in that part instead, but I don't see Tilda Swinton in it. But movie could be good. The one I'm really excited about is the SpiderMan movie. SpiderMan's my dude.
Yeah, the title I wasn't like thrilled about when I first heard it, but I knew they're kind of paying some homage to the comics and things like that, and then the casting that they've had so far. I like Tom Holland. The short time that we had him in Civil War, I was like, this guy's going to be an awesome Spider-Man. So, and we got hot Aunt May as well.
Yeah, I grew up Spider-Man. Spider-Man was probably my favorite character of anything growing up. More, right up there with the Turtles and the Ghostbusters.
Nice.
So I read a lot of Spider-Man growing up, and that Tom Holland is my Spider-Man. That's the Spider-Man that I grew up reading in comic books.
He's gonna look 15 for like the next 20 years.
Yeah, the 16-year-old smartass that doesn't quite understand his powers. And that's what I've been waiting to see on screen.
Yeah, and we're not going to get the whole origin story like we've gotten 3 or 4 times now. I think with Homecoming, they're just going to jump right into his. They're trying to make it like I'm spacing on names today. The guy who made Ferris Bueller's Day Off. I can't remember.
John Hughes.
John Hughes. They're trying to make like a John Hughes high school kind of kid movie. They're involving actual drama. Trying to put some quality into that as opposed to just like him getting beat up by a bully or whatever. So it's just like, no, let's get some actual emotions and some good dialogue possibly into this movie too. So I'm excited. I follow him on social media, so I see him. He's always posting things like from the set and things, the stunts and things that they're doing. So I'm excited. That's 2017 as well, next summer.
Next summer, yeah. And the cool thing about Spider-Man is Spider-Man's got that rogues gallery of villains like Batman does. Like he's got the best group of villains in all of the Marvel universe. You know, between Doctor Octopus and the Kingpin, the Lizard, the Vulture, which they're gonna do in this movie,
Michael
Electro.
Keaton.
Yeah, somebody will do Electro right, because Jamie Foxx's Electro was awful.
He was basically like another Edward Nygma before he was Electro.
Yeah, I mean that really was, that movie was like watching, that was the Batman Forever of
of the Spider-Man franchises.
Spider-Man franchise. That movie was so disappointing to me.
Jerry Bruckheimer is just, or Joel Schumacher is just like, whew, watching that movie. He's like, all right, someone else can get blamed.
Exactly. You advertise the Rhino, and the Rhino's in the last 20 seconds.
First 5 seconds and the last 12 seconds.
Yeah. So I mean, they can't get. I'm excited for this movie. Like, genuinely excited for that movie.
Well, this is the first one that Sony's not going to have full control over. Like Marvel's got their creative control into this one, so Sony's just along for the ride at this point. They own the name, but Marvel's like, look, we're making this movie. We're putting all of our creative input into this. So yes, you're going to get your money. You're going to give your input here and there, but this is basically our Spider-Man movie at this point. You guys are pretty like they're back end deals at this point. It's just like we are using this character for however we need, and they're already doing a good job by rebooting the cast and changing some, even like the race and ages and things of how the cast has been. And like I said, going on top of the John Hughes storyline, I'm pretty excited for Spider-Man. I am, because I really wasn't that excited for the Andrew Garfield one, even though Andrew Garfield was a really good Spider-Man. Just the movie itself wasn't that great.
Yeah, those movies were kind of disappointing, and I'm just really glad I don't have to watch Uncle Ben get killed again.
Oh,
I'm tired of watching Uncle Ben and the Waynes get killed on screen.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, growing since '89, we've been seeing these parents die, Uncle Ben, and then these parents die. So like, it's this time. Let's move on. Let's just figure out something else to move the story along. So yeah, like I said, I'm excited for Spider-Man for sure.
Yeah.
What else? What else did you have?
I'm just counting down the days till Rogue One, and I want to see some sort of, give me 15 seconds of Episode 8 footage. Give me something. Like, I'm salivating over here for something from Episode 8, something official, a title, anything.
Well, they've already wrapped, right? They wrapped like a few weeks ago, I think, didn't they?
Wrapped. So I feel like at this point, we're about a year away. Like, at this point from Force Awakens, we had a title, we had a cast list, we had something.
And we had all the we had the teaser trailer, then we had trailer number 1, 2, and 3. We had like the third trailer by the time we were in like October.
Yeah, like how far out was the Chewie We're Home trailer? I feel like it was about a year out. Maybe
it was at a Comic-Con. I think it was a Comic-Con the May before.
So, but about 6 months, I guess.
Yeah. 6 to 8 months, and that's usually the good gap of window for like any movie. They want to do like 6 to 8 months before it comes out, especially bigger blockbuster movies, because they want to get that attention out. But like for smaller movies, it can be the 2-3 months or even less than that leading up. But like Rogue One, we got our first trailer like 3 weeks ago, and the movie's coming out in 2.5 months. And we've all heard about the reshoots, and they brought in the editor from Godzilla to help Gareth Edwards, because apparently Disney's not letting Gareth Edwards edit his own movie, so they're having somebody else come in and consult or basically do it. And so I'm sure they've had to, with whatever copy or draft they had at one point, they had to redo, and so that messed up their whole timeline on getting footage out for trailers and things like that. So we probably should have got a trailer probably back like at this Comic-Con or even in June. But since they had these reshoots and even rescoring some of the movie too, to the point where it's like, all right, they had to wait until September to get a trailer out.
It's going to be weird seeing a Star Wars movie of any form without a John Williams score. Like, it's going to be weird, and I think that's people are going to want. So I don't know if they're having this guy rescore the movie to kind of fit that John Williams vibe, because I feel like people are going to be really upset if it's not. Now,
are they rescoring it because John Williams, did he step away at some point while they were like getting everything down, or he just didn't want to do this project?
I think he only wants to do main saga. Like, I don't know.
He's like, I don't do those side stories.
Yeah, I don't think he was interested in doing this, from what I understand. But
all right. Well, I know the guy they have is like a what do you want to call it, predecessor, or he's been following his work, I guess, underneath him for a little while. So the guy has similar creativeness when it comes to his music, and of course he's not going to go crazy. He's going to follow, like you said, a little bit of a John Williams template in regards to creating the score for this movie. But the trailer that we did get, the footage, like with the the Imperials over the rock formations, and then the Death Star upside down, things like that. Like all the visuals so far look amazing. I'm just wondering maybe where the storyline might be a little fumbled, or where they're trying to rework it.
Yeah, and I'm not expecting a perfect movie. I want another fun movie, something to fill me up until episode 8, like just something to carry me through.
It's like the filler songs on an album. You get your singles and you get a couple fillers, and then we get back to the good singles. So this is our filler for now until we get to the main attraction of episode 8.
Exactly.
So yeah, so I'm hoping, like you said, we get a little footage, a trailer, a teaser of some sort before Rogue One for episode 8. But I'm not sure if that will confuse everybody thinking the movie's starting or something. If that, because there's still people who are confused and think that Rogue One is the next Star Wars official episode movie.
Yeah, and I don't understand that. Other than the casual fans that don't really know the story or whatever, but it takes place before A New Hope, right?
Is it? I don't know if is it before, or like almost like during it, because it might be before, because I know during episode 4, obviously when they have the plans, they now say, people, this is from our squad who stole this plans to the Death Star. People died doing this, so it's like, okay, we were briefly told this story in episode 4, but they didn't say, was it happening? Did it happen like just now, a week before, or is it months before? We've had months to prepare this plan we're about to show you. So I don't know. And like you said, it is definitely before. I just don't know how far before it is.
Yeah, but either way, I'll be there opening night to see it.
As soon as they have the pre-sale open on Fandango, I'll be buying my ticket, just like I did last year. Waiting, I had my phone and laptop open when they did the whole commercial during the trailer during the football game, and then they went on sale right after. Oh, I was all ready. I was ready to go. So I'll be ready for this one too. So I'm excited because, like you said, it's just another Star Wars movie, and I don't care if it's an actual episode, if it's just a saga story. I'm gonna watch it regardless. And this is interesting because this is the first non-episode movie we're gonna get. So we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, and it sounds like there's another anthology movie in the works. No real details, but they are. I'm crossing my fingers for a Boba Fett movie.
Oh, Obi-Wan.
Or and Obi. Bring. Ewan McGregor said he's open to coming back and playing young Obi-Wan again, which I'm okay with. He was one of the bright spots of the prequels. I thought. He fits young Obi-Wan. But yeah, an Obi-Wan or a Boba Fett movie would be just perfect.
Boba Fett would be nice. You can see. I wonder if it'd be like him tying in before, like episode 3 or 4, or I guess 4 in regards to they placed him in A New Hope after the fact, the George Lucas editions, but he really didn't show up until Empire Strikes.
Yeah. Well, you didn't see Boba Fett until Empire Strikes Back.
And so it's interesting because I do want to see a little bit more of his backstory. People are going to be like, we don't need to see it, but he'd be an interesting character because we got nothing out of him in the original trilogy. So maybe that would be one character that would deserve a little bit more of a backstory that wouldn't be too revealing like it was Darth Vader in the prequels. We're like, oh, we know too much about this guy, so he's not as awesome as we thought. Well, he's just a crybaby.
They said he didn't die in that Sarlacc pit in Return of the Jedi, so...
I've seen some of the fan footage where people have created digitally, he fell down and they have a hand coming up and things like that. So it's all right, I could go with that. They could show up literally seconds after Luke and everybody fly off from killing Jabba, and then all of a sudden Boba Fett's climbing out of the Sarlacc pit. So I'd be down if that's the way they started it.
Because it sounds like with this Han Solo movie, they're basically going to do some sort of Donald Glover, Lando. It sounds like they're going for a buddy movie, but I hope not.
I hope also with the Han Solo movie they don't try to tie him into any other storyline that's going on or went on. Just tell his story. Do maybe how him and Chewie met. Maybe do how the 12 parsecs run and things like that. But I wouldn't be like, oh well, you didn't know, but Chewie and Han were flying in the background in the Force or in A New Hope before they even showed up in the movie, but you didn't know that kind of thing.
Don't make it cheese. Just give me a Han Solo backstory. Let me know how he met Lando. I think Donald Glover is a pretty good choice for young Lando. I'm cool with that. He's got
to do some Colt 45 commercials like Billy D. Williams did.
Exactly.
That'd be awesome if he just did some parody once right before the movie. He's like, Colt 45, baby.
Good stuff.
But yeah, I mean, I'm excited for Star Wars regardless, no matter what. Even if it does get not so great reviews, I'm still gonna go see it. I'm still gonna support it. We're just gonna be like you said, it's our filler. We're just waiting for the next episode. As long as episode 8 is good, which we're confident in, I'm excited.
Yeah, episode 7 was good. I saw episode 7, I think 5 times in the theater.
And I was like 5 or 6 times for me.
And it wasn't just because it was Star Wars. That they made that movie watchable over and over and over.
Mm-hmm.
It's good. There's some issues with it, but no movie's perfect anymore.
No, it was a perfect cocktail of, like you said, some familiar storylines, but some new things they added with the characters, and the visuals were awesome as well. So yeah, like you said, there's so many things that made it rewatchable. I probably have seen the movie now at least 20 times through theaters and through the Blu-ray. So I've had my share, and I'm hoping the same thing goes along with the rest of the movies. And J.J. Abrams set a good template. I think people will follow that to some degree, just add their own flavor to it.
Yeah, I think that the guy that directed Jurassic World is directing episode 9, and
what was his
Colin
name?
Trevorrow.
Yeah, Colin Trevorrow. Yeah, and he only had like 1 or 2 movies before he did Jurassic World. And they just kind of yanked him. They're like, yeah, you're good.
Yeah, and who's doing episode 8? Ryan Johnson?
Ryan Johnson.
What has he done beforehand? Did he do Chronicle? Was that what he did?
No, that was the guy who got kicked off Fantastic Four.
Oh, Josh Trank.
Josh Trank, yeah. Yeah, he did Chronicle. I can't remember what Ryan Johnson did. Gareth Edwards did Godzilla. Man, I'm blanking on Ryan Johnson. But the thing is, too, is like with Star Wars, they're tapping these not newcomer, but newer, I guess, type of directors where they have a couple movies under their lines, but they're not like huge, big blockbusters. They did a couple indies, maybe some mid-level movies, and then they'll take them and kind of be like, okay, here's our idea, now you just direct it that way, kind of a thing, because they're not going to get Steven Spielberg or somebody to direct a Star Wars movie because they know they'll do their own thing. They have enough clout, they'll try to do their own thing, and that Disney wouldn't be able to control them. So let's get a little bit of a newer guy so we can control them.
Yeah. Looper. That's what Ryan Johnson did.
Oh, yeah.
Bruce Willis.
The last movie Bruce Willis tried in, I think.
Yeah, which was, it's one of those movies that a lot of people didn't see, but it's pretty good. Looper's worth a watch.
I think I'm still a little confused on how it all worked out, but it was entertaining to say the least.
Yeah.
The ending I was still confused about.
Yeah, it's a little different, but worth watching. I'm interested to see what he does with episode 8.
So, and then of course they're going to go on past episode 8 and 9 to like 10, 11, 12. So who knows what directors we'll be having. Maybe we'll have JJ come back for episode 10 or something. Who knows?
They've got that petition to bring George Lucas back, so you never know what's going to happen.
Oh, man, I don't know. He didn't even want to direct the prequels. He just did it because everyone else said no. I don't think we want to force him. He can write it. He can come up with some ideas, and we'll run with it, but I don't think we should go off his final word on directing scenes.
I would be upset if they brought George Lucas back.
I was like, just have him consult from from just have him call in. He can see like a screen of what's going on and just kind of call in on some notes, but that's it. Nothing more. No directing. Sorry, George, you had your fun. Just live off the royalties for the rest of your life.
You had your chance, and you made your $250 billion or whatever you sold Star Wars for. So You
Yeah,
observe.
he got his toy merchandise out for the prequels, so he's gonna be making bank for a while.
Exactly.
So, but well, if that's everything that you had, is everything that I had for this episode. I do appreciate taking the time to come on today. It was awesome. We're definitely gonna be doing this way more often because, like I said, these conversations can get deep real quick. But before we take off, just let everybody know where they can find you on social media, so they can find all your awesome stuff on all the social media platforms.
Yeah, on Vine, you can find me at NAJ, just NAJ. On Twitter and Instagram, you can find me at NAJ_TV. YouTube, NAJ TV. And on Snapchat, you can get me at NAJ Koffelt, COFFELT. I think you put my tag there in the logo for this. So you can just snapshot my logo there and follow me on Snapchat.
Yeah, we'll get all the links down below, so everyone wants to follow you, they can. But for me, you can find me on YouTube at Circuits of Time Review, and Twitter Circuits of Time, and also Instagram at Circuits of Time Reviews. But yeah, we're gonna keep going with the weekly podcast. Just kind of breaking down the movie news. Have some other videos coming up for the Now You Know bios and the perceptive retrospectives, getting into more, taking one movie news item and just kind of diving deep. So we're trying to get a little bit more of those. I've been a little lazy lately, so we'll be getting those out. But again, thanks everybody for checking out tonight's episode. We'll be back next week, and be excellent to each other. Thanks.